In this series, we're talking about how we can grow in our faith and our walk with God every day. And this week specifically, we're talking about how we can grow with God by talking about God. And this is most commonly used with our story. You know, how God has been active and present in our lives, how he's healed our wounds, how he's walked us through our storms. And these stories can be impactful in the lives of others and getting them to know more about Jesus. And not only from our stories, but from stories around us as well. So how God has been active and present in the lives of the people around us. How have we seen him active and present? How have people expressed his healing in their life to us? This is an incredible way to get to know God more through the story of other people. We can even learn more about God through our own story. We can recognize that even in moments that we didn't see Jesus right there, we can see him now that we've walked through that storm, that he was active and present every time. It reminds me of a story from Luke 24 called The Road to Emmaus. Two disciples were traveling after Jesus was brutally murdered, and they were full of uncertainty. Well, Jesus meets them on that path after he rose from the dead, but they didn't recognize him, and they were hurting and confused. And he asked, "What are you guys talking about? Who is that guy?" And one of them responded with pretty much saying, "Where have you been? Have you been living under a rock that you haven't heard of Jesus of Nazareth?" Well, they continue walking down this road, and Jesus, who they view as a stranger because they don't recognize him, is reminding them of what Moses and the prophets said about the Messiah and how he had to suffer to enter his kingdom, his glory. And they get to the end of their journey, and the stranger is acting like he has further to go. And the disciples say, "Stop, it's getting dark, it's dangerous to travel. Come stay with us. Share a meal with us, a simple meal." And they come together, and the stranger breaks the bread and blesses it. And he's revealed himself. The disciples see that Jesus was with them all along. In their pain, they felt the burning in their hearts as Jesus talked about the scripture from Moses and the prophets. And as soon as they realized it was him, was as quickly as he vanished before their eyes. They ran immediately and they told their story to the other disciples. They ran that journey back 7 miles to tell who they had seen. We saw the risen Christ. And the same is true with us in our lives. When we experience the living Christ present and active in our lives, healing us, walking us through storms, that story has power and influence, and God can use that as a tool to build and encourage hope in the lives of others. And the same is true for you. Listening to the story of others can build hope in times of uncertainty. When you're journeying that path of uncertainty, it gives you hope, knowing that even though you feel like you don't feel Jesus, you're like, "I don't see you, God. Where are you?" He is present and active in your life as you're journeying down the path of the unknown. So this week, embrace your story, embrace the story of others, and grow closer to God. I'll see you guys next week for the final week of Every Day.